Right now, your future self is screaming at you. Screaming, not with words, but with every choice you've made, every opportunity you've let slip away, every moment you've wasted on things that don't matter. And if you keep going the way you are, that future will arrive, and you'll finally see the cost of your hesitation. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, not the life you dream about, not the one you scroll past on social media and envy. No, the real one. The one shaped by every small decision, every time you gave up, every excuse you believed. That version of you is there, watching, waiting, hoping you finally take action before it's too late. You see, life doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. The clock keeps ticking, silently marking every choice you make, or fail to make. And every day you ignore the pull of your better self. That version of you is growing frustrated, growing desperate, because they know how much potential is being left behind. Right now, as you sit there, your future self is silently holding a mirror up to your life, showing you exactly where you could be if only you had started a year ago, or 10 years ago, or even yesterday. They're not angry. They're not punishing you. They're begging you to finally wake up, to finally see that what you do today, in this very moment, determines the story you'll tell tomorrow. And this is where everything changes, because in the next few minutes you're going to witness a story of struggle, of fear, of failure, and of one decision that transformed everything. And as you listen, you'll realize this isn't just someone else's journey. It's yours. It's your life on the line, and your future self is counting on you. This is the story of Alex, a man much like you and me. He wasn't born with extraordinary talent, he didn't have wealth handed to him, and he certainly wasn't immune to fear. But what he had was time, and the realization that time, when wasted, can quietly become the heaviest burden anyone carries. Just like many of us, Alex felt stuck. Every morning he woke up with a sense of purpose that quickly dissolved into the same endless cycle of doubt, distraction, and disappointment. He watched people around him move forward, chasing opportunities, building their lives, while he lingered on the edges, trapped in his own mind. He had dreams, yes, but they felt distant, almost untouchable. The fear of failing, of making the wrong choice, of falling short, it was overwhelming. He tried to convince himself that tomorrow would be different, that one day he would start. But the days passed, weeks became months, and months, years. The challenge Alex faced was not just external. It wasn't a lack of money or resources. It was internal. It was the invisible force of self-doubt, the quiet voice that whispered, "Maybe this isn't for you, maybe you're not ready, maybe it's too late." That voice, silent but relentless, had the power to stop him before he even began. And yet, there was a spark, a tiny, almost imperceptible awareness that whispered back, "You could be more. You could be the person you're meant to become, if only you start." That tiny voice was the first bridge to his future self. And here's why you should care. Because Alex's story isn't unique. It's the story of millions, people who feel lost, trapped in routines, weighed down by fear and uncertainty, unsure if their life will ever reflect the potential they know they carry. It's the story of a version of yourself, the one waiting to be awakened. Alex tried. Oh, how he tried. Every morning he woke with determination, promising himself that today would be different. He would take one step closer to the life he imagined. But every time he reached for progress, something pulled him back. Opportunities slipped through his fingers, doors closed, and sometimes it felt like the world itself was conspiring to remind him of his limitations. He applied for jobs, he pitched ideas, he trained, he studied, he sacrificed. And yet, rejection after rejection, 7 times, 10 times, 20 times. Each failure felt like a weight pressing down on his chest. Friends told him he was chasing a dream that wasn't meant to be. Family questioned his choices, shaking their heads, offering advice disguised as doubt. Maybe it's time to be realistic. And he wanted to believe them. There were nights when Alex sat alone in his small apartment, the silence almost unbearable. Bills piled up. The fridge was nearly empty. Friends had plans, lives, careers moving forward, while he sat there, staring at the ceiling, asking the same question over and over. Why can't I get it right? And it wasn't just the external failures. It was the internal battles that cut deepest self-doubt clawed at him relentlessly. He compared himself to everyone around him. He questioned his worth, his intelligence, his ability to even begin. The mind can be a cruel prison, and Alex felt trapped. Every mistake, every delay, every moment wasted reinforced the story he feared, that he wasn't enough. He was broke. He was exhausted. He was alone. Dreams that once felt alive now seemed like cruel reminders of what he wasn't. And in the darkest nights, when even hope felt impossible, he considered giving up entirely, letting the world win, letting himself fade into mediocrity. Yet, even in that valley of despair, there was a spark, a voice, a whisper that refused to go silent. It wasn't loud, it didn't promise immediate results or easy answers, but it reminded him of one undeniable truth, that the life he wanted wasn't gone, it wasn't too late, that failure was not the end, it was a signal, a lesson, a warning, and a guide. And that is where most people stop. They stop in the valley. They accept their pain, their doubts, their stagnation as permanent. But not Alex. Something inside him stirred, something tiny, fragile, but alive. It was the awareness that the future was still in his hands, that if he refused to give up, refused to surrender to despair, he might still find a way forward. This is the moment the story truly begins. Because the struggle, the darkness, the isolation, the repeated failures, that is what makes the eventual breakthrough not just possible, but inevitable. The valley is where character is forged, where determination is tested, and where the seeds of transformation are planted. And then, one night, something inside Alex changed. It wasn't dramatic. There was no sudden miracle, no lightning strike of inspiration. It came quietly, almost imperceptibly, as he sat in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the life he had dreamed of for so long. He realized something that many never truly grasp, that waiting for the perfect moment, for the perfect plan, for the perfect opportunity, was the very thing that had kept him trapped. The perfect day would never come. The perfect conditions would never appear. And if he wanted the life he envisioned, he would have to begin. Imperfectly, messily, and with courage he hadn't yet summoned. He remembered the countless mornings he had promised himself that today would be different, and yet he had let them pass. And he felt a quiet fury, not toward anyone else, but toward himself. How many more days, months, years would he allow to slip away? How many more chances would he waste simply because he was afraid of failing? In that moment, he made a choice. Not a huge, overwhelming choice that would change everything at once, but a single, deliberate one. He decided that he would take one action every day, no matter how small, toward the person he wanted to become. One small act of discipline, one step forward every day. That was it. Just one thing. Not perfection, not a plan for the next decade, just one step. And as soon as he committed, something shifted. A weight lifted. The fear didn't vanish and the challenges didn't disappear. But a light appeared, faint at first, but growing steadily. The spark of possibility he had thought long dead began to glow again. He realized that progress wasn't about leaps, it was about momentum. That small, consistent action compounded into results he had never imagined. He began to take control. He started journaling his goals. He tracked his progress. He eliminated distractions. He faced rejection, not as failure, but as feedback. Every day became a building block. Every effort, however small, was proof that he could reshape his future. And the most powerful part, he finally understood that the person he had always wanted to be, the successful, confident, fulfilled version of himself, had been waiting all along. He didn't need to become someone new. He only needed to awaken what was already inside him. That realization, that empowerment was the breakthrough. That single, deliberate decision changed everything. Alex's story isn't unique. It is not extraordinary because he was special. It is extraordinary because he chose to act, because he chose to refuse the voice of doubt, refuse the excuses, refuse the delay. And that is the first lesson: persistence. Life will test you. It will challenge you in ways you cannot predict, and sometimes it will knock you to the ground. But every time you rise, no matter how slowly, no matter how painfully, you are moving closer to the person you were meant to become. Persistence is not about never failing. It is about continuing despite failure. It is about understanding that every setback is temporary and every small step forward matters more than the times you stumbled. Your future self is not looking for perfection. It is looking for action. It is watching to see whether you will continue, even when the world tells you to stop. The second lesson is discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. Discipline is waking up when you don't want to. Discipline is doing the hard, uncomfortable, inconvenient things that bring long-term growth, even when no one is watching. Alex learned that his success did not come from motivation, which is fleeting, or from talent, which is limited. It came from showing up every single day, putting in the work and trusting the process, even when it seemed slow, even when he felt unseen, even when he doubted himself. Mindset is the third lesson. Your mind shapes your reality. The thoughts you feed yourself, the beliefs you allow to flourish, the stories you tell about who you are, these determine what you will achieve. Alex stopped believing that failure defined him. He stopped listening to the quiet voice that said, "You're not enough." He rewrote his inner narrative. "I am capable. I can grow. I will find a way." And the world began to respond. The opportunities appeared. The doors opened. Not because the world changed, but because he changed. Consistency is the fourth lesson. Small actions, repeated day after day, create exponential results. One phone call, one page of learning, one workout, one intentional conversation, repeated consistently over weeks, months, years, builds a life that looks impossible from the inside. Alex didn't wake up one day as a master of his craft. He became consistent, and consistency over time turns ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Self-belief is the fifth lesson. Nothing can substitute for believing in yourself when no one else does. When the world doubts you, when friends or family or coworkers question your choices, your self-belief carries you. It fuels action, courage, and resilience. Alex's journey was never smooth, it was never easy. But he believed, and that belief, the quiet, unwavering trust in his own potential, became his shield, his compass, and ultimately his superpower. Finally, daily habits shape destiny. The small choices you make every day, what you read, who you spend time with, what you practice, how you respond to challenges, these create the architecture of your life. Alex didn't try to overhaul everything at once. He started with one habit, one action, one commitment per day. Over time, those habits became identity. Over time, those habits became results. And the man who once felt stuck, lost, and powerless became unstoppable. And here's the truth. This isn't just Alex's story. This isn't just a story you watch and forget. This is your story, waiting to be written. Your future self is here. watching, hoping, waiting for you to take the first step. And the step is simple, not easy, but simple. Start today. Be consistent. Choose discipline over comfort. Believe when it's hardest to believe. Persist when it feels impossible. Build habits that honor your future self, because you are only one decision away from a completely different life. One day, one conversation, one action, one refusal to give up. That is all it takes. And if Alex could find his way from doubt, despair, and failure, imagine what you could do. Imagine what you could achieve. Imagine the version of yourself 10 years from now, looking back, grateful that you chose action over hesitation, courage over fear, persistence over surrender. Your life does not belong to circumstance. It belongs to the choices you make, the habits you nurture, and the beliefs you carry. And your future self is begging you to start now. If you're still watching this, it means something inside you stirred. It means the part of you that refuses to settle, the part of you that knows you were meant for more, is awake. It means your future self is here, leaning in, urging you to take action, reminding you that the life you dream of doesn't wait for hesitation, it doesn't pause for comfort, and it certainly doesn't forgive wasted time. The world is moving. Opportunities are passing by. People are growing, learning, building, evolving. And you are at a crossroads. You can stay where you are, comfortable, numb, waiting for a sign that may never come. Or you can take one step, one deliberate, committed step. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Because your future self is counting on you. They are watching every choice you make, every second you waste, every excuse you tell yourself. And the truth is, they don't want you to regret the years that could have been. They don't want you to look back and say, I wish I had started sooner. They want you to act. They want you to rise. They want you to become the person you were always meant to be. And here is the most important truth. Change doesn't come from perfection. It doesn't come from waiting until everything is aligned. It comes from courage. It comes from commitment. It comes from doing the hard, uncomfortable, uncertain thing, again and again, until it becomes who you are. Your small actions compound. Your tiny decisions today become the reality of tomorrow. So take a moment, breathe, listen to the voice inside you that has been whispering, quietly, patiently, persistently. That voice is your future self. They are begging you, they are asking you to honor the life you dream of, to honor the person you can become. Move now, start now, because no one else can do it for you. The world will not pause, time will not wait, and the longer you delay, the more you owe your future self. Make them proud. Make yourself proud. And when you take that first step, no matter how small, no matter how unsure, you are already winning. You are already changing your story. You are already answering the call that every version of you, past, present, and future, has been waiting for. If this story resonated with you, if it stirred something inside, subscribe now for daily motivational stories. Let these stories guide you, inspire you, and remind you that your best self is always waiting, just one decision away.